Hey, it's Ted here. I'm starting that second part of putting the snowblower back together. So what I ended up doing was finding out a new carburetor online. So when I looked online, I found that carburetors were like 20 bucks for this thing, and everything's made in China, so you can't buy a non-Chinese carburetor. Even if you buy the original Toro one, it's like $80. The gasket kit is like 60. So I looked for the best one I found, and this is the one I used. All right, so here it is. This is the unit I got. And of course, it's from China like anything else you're going to buy, unfortunately, but the write-ups on Amazon are really good, so we're just going to go for it. So here's the physical carburetor. It comes with the gaskets. They're not the real, fancy laminate gaskets, but I'm just going to put a little grease on these anyway, just to ease taking them apart like I do with all other flat gaskets for carburetors and stuff. Just it makes it easier to come apart. So here's the replacement, and it already comes with that piece of hose that's split. And so one of the things I do so I don't forget is I take a lot of pictures because I'm getting older now. But I also make a mark. I put a piece of, just take an indelible magic marker and I mark this end so I can't flip this over when I reinstall it. Because I'm going to have to take this off and it'll come off of here first and then off the carburetor. And then there's this spring up here and the other linkage arm, and I'll show you that. So on the replacement carburetor, you can see that the spring is going to go here, and that's that spring down there. You can see the hook spring down there. And then the other piece that's got to be installed is going to fit in that slot. So I've got to probably pull the carburetor out, twist it, and then pull that link rod out. And then pull this link rod out of it. So it'll be a little bit of finagling to probably get that out of there. And the first thing I want to do is get this piece out of the way. So I'm going to slide this back. And remember where that linkage arm goes this way. So that piece is going to go back on with new gaskets. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick that linkage arm up and get that out of the way. So remember, it goes back on that way. And then I need to get this fuel line out of the way. So my needle nose pliers. Yep. Somebody got in there. Crump that right up against the housing. There we go. Okay, now I can get that out of the way. There we are. Give that a little twist. See if I can't break that loose. There we go. If you don't want to drain all the fuel out, you just stick a bolt in there. The other thing I want to make sure is that that fuel line is the same size. That view here. It's upside down, but yep. Yeah, that's the same size fuel line, so I'm all set there. Now that linkage, like I said, I have to get this spring off first. So I'm going to take that spring off. Let me get that out of the way. Try not to bend it. When you do this, I got the light here. What I'm going to do is just turn a little bit and try to pick it up straight. There we go. And that spring, as you'll be able to see in a second, actually the spring goes around this rod. So you want to leave that on there. And now what I'm going to try to do is pull this out just a little bit until I can rotate that rod and pick that rod straight up like that out of the linkage, and then just let it hang there. And that's it. Now at this point, I might have to take the fuel line the rest of the way off, it looks like, and I have to seal that up. So I'm going to plug that with a bolt. Okay, here's another little trick I use. I just take a shanked bolt, cut it off with a hacksaw, file it down smooth, and then I can put that in the fuel line hose, and hopefully it won't make a mess. And I take it off, so I'm going to try to squeeze it shut. Wiggle it off of there. There we go. Almost. There it is. All right, and if I'm lucky, this will fit right in there snug. And it does, like a glove. Perfect. So now that won't leak while I'm messing around with this thing if I still got extra fuel in there. All right, so now I can take that carburetor right off. There we go. That's that. And I don't know if I could have cleaned this out or not, but for the price of a replacement, I'm not going to waste my time. The linkage and the spring are ready to go. My fuel line's right here. I can hook that up. I'm going to put a new gasket on there. Get a little grease, put a little grease on it. Alright, there's 3 different gaskets that come with this carburetor. So this is the outside gasket, and then you have the inner gasket. That one's different. Alright, I got the replacement gasket in position. I got it greased on both sides. I'm going to slip that in there and put that into position against the housing. Alright. The housing's going to pull right up tight when we're done. And then I'm going to take the carburetor and slide it in position here over the studs. Get that started, and then I'm going to pick this link rod up a little bit with my finger and that to line up maybe. And then when that gets close, come on, then I can drop that down into its position. There we go. And then that'll rotate like that. The linkage. And the last thing I need is the spring. I'm going to push it back on a little bit, get this hose out of the way. Hopefully you saw that okay. And that link rod in, and then I'm going to grab that pair of needle nose and get that wire out of my way. There we are. Then I'm going to push the carburetor back on and gingerly put that little spring back on. And I got to put the fuel line back on too. So I'm going to get that ready to go, and I'm going to slip that fuel line back on there next. So let's put this back up here, and I'm going to slide a little further up out of the way. So now I can hold the that from, yeah, that's actually a pretty tight fit. Not bad. I can hold that closed just long enough to slip that fuel line on there. There we go. Keep my magic tool, and then pull this back down. There we are. And I'll tuck it back down where, kind of where it was before, out of the way. There we go. Goes like that. And then that link rod goes in like this. The choke. Make sure you hold that in the right position. So that was on the top, not on the bottom. Alright, so that can hang like that. A little grease on this gasket. Take this back out and take a quick look at it, just to make sure I got this right. Like that. Yep. So it goes on here like this. Then we'll put that link rod back on here. Facing up. As such. Come on, Mr. Link Rod. There you go. These are always so much fun to keep in position while you're trying to put this back together. There we go. And yeah, there's the choke position. Nice. Last gasket goes on the outside, I believe. And there's the last one there. Yep. Now we can put the plastic cover on, but I have to remember to put this tube back on here first before I slip this through. And then I also have to put that primer hose on. So this piece has to go on here first. And then, all right, and then, let's see, this goes this way. Yep. Okay, there we go. And then if I'm lucky, everything goes on. Yep. Looks good to me. Yep. And what's interesting is I got the crankcase ventilation hose lined right up as I put it on. So I'm going to put these two nuts, hold this in position on first. Everything's tagged and bagged. Now we hope that when we put this back together, we get good spark. Alright, then I'll snug them up, which will pull this all together. Alright, so there we go. We got that back together. I'm going to snug these two bolts up with the ratchet. And then we can finish putting other things back together here. Shields and covers, all that good stuff. There we are. That's good. One side like that. Top and bottom. I'm going to do the bottom one first to get this to line up. And I got to look back here and figure out where that screw goes. Plastic can wiggle it around a little bit. There it goes. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. Yep. That's done. Okay, now we got our plastic stop switch here. Gonna snap back in here. Make sure that's not gonna interfere with anything. I'm gonna put these wires back on here, so pull them off. And this just snaps back in, but I want to make sure I can get this on here. before I there we go. That's on. Now, the one thing I don't want is I don't want that to interfere with any linkage. That's that. That looks fine like that. Okay. That's not, yeah, that should grab throttle linkage, that's fine. Yep. Okay. And then actually get my spark plug changed. And then I can put that cover back on. But I'm going to try and start it before I go much further here because I want to see if it'll run with this new carburetor, if it'll start up. So this one has to go this way. Yep. There. Now this knob, I'm going to put this on a little bit, but not all the way. Yep, there we go. All right. Yep. Like that. So I've got a few guards left on to put on. I've got that front shield for the belts to put back on. Just a few miscellaneous bolts. All told, probably took an hour, maybe an hour and a half to fix this thing with a little research online to get the right part number. Brand new spark plug for this one is the same one I took out. I went down to Tractor Supply, wasn't in stock, so I went to Napa, and it is a cross-reference from, I think it's F6RTC, something like that, a torch number to Champion spark plug RN9YC, the same one that was in it. So it looks like weak spark when I first tried, started this video, but seems to run fine now, so all good. All right, so we got it all back together. Got it out here by the doorway. Let it sit overnight and see if it'll start. So here we go. It's all reassembled. I put everything back together. The knobs, you just push those back on. All the shields are back on. Put some fresh fuel in it. I'm going to hook the electric start up here. So what's nice about these units is you can just take a regular extension cord and you can plug it right in here. It's really nice. The only thing about this is I don't have the extension cord with a block ground, but it doesn't matter. So I got the extension cord plugged in. Gonna come over here, do the old prime 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Full choke. Give it a little throttle. Hit that electric start. And hope she fires. Yeah, baby. Here we go. Alright, that's no choke. That pull just started. Drive the auger. That's good. Now I gotta just let it idle for a minute. The throttle. Yeah, I didn't get any better than that, so new carburetor, change things up a little bit. Just takes a little bit of time. Taking things apart, putting them back together. Got cold out. You can see my breath a lot colder than it was in the shop the other day. So cold start. I'm ready for this thing. My buddy's gonna be happy.